Welcome in, everybody. My name is Letiredd, content creator over on Twitch, and I mainly stream Star Citizen. I know, why do we? But anyways, today we are going to be talking about ISC Alpha 4.0 meshing forward. Excuse me for the distractions. I have a fantastic community member who's feeling very generous today. But with that said, we're going to be talking about meshing. We know that's coming up in 4.0. We get our first version of static server meshing, and really looking forward to that because hopefully it opens up a lot of avenues for better gameplay. But thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. All right, everyone. We are going to dive right into it. Yo, comment ça va, très plat? Ah ouais, pour tous les Français, si jamais vous voulez que je traduise, il n'y a pas de problème, vous me le dites. Et puis voilà. Okay, let's watch this thing. Hopefully we learned some cool stuff about server meshing. I'm looking forward to it. Alrighty now, let's check this out.
So it's been a while since we had you in here. What's happened since then? Hi, Steve.
Well, we all went back home and we didn't do anything for about a year and a half, and then suddenly we made server meshing.
We knew it. I knew it. We've all been saying these guys are super lazy and never get up to anything, and this just confirms it.
No.
We've been busy. Busy taking all of the feedback and all of the data that we gathered during the last series of tech preview tests.
We've really been developing the technology and making sure it covers all the use cases that the system requires.
And rolling that forward into new and exciting stuff.
What new and exciting stuff?
But this is a kind of a momentous thing, if we just kind of want to put meshing in context of what Star Citizen is, because this is what is holding up the rest, according to CIG. This is the giant step that we need to accomplish in order to have all the other goodies that we want to have in the game. So this is actually legitimately an important ISC, most likely. Whether they can implement this effectively still kind of remains to be seen, and just kind of going back and remembering the tests that we did when they were doing all the server meshing tests. At first it was very difficult, and then it got better, and hopefully they maintain that. And I'm looking forward to at least having 300 people on servers, with meshed servers between Pyro and Stanton, and I wouldn't be unhappy if that's all we had to start with. I can wait for the 1,000.
Ok, jump point detected! Jump point detected! Incroyable! C'est donc... Oh!
They threw up a
You
Frenchie.
probably noticed we are pushing player counts higher and higher as the weeks go by.
Why did we do this with real players? Why don't you guys just script something or use bots? It never matches the actual real-time environment that players can actually represent. Putting real players in the build is the only way to really see the true depth of the troubles that we're in.
We'll always start out with kind of a safe test at 100 players.
So we verify here that we haven't introduced new crashes that would detriment the experience, and that the performance is on par with what we would expect for a single server with 100 players. Let that run and soak for like 30 to an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. And then once we've confirmed that that's actually functional, then we go to higher numbers.
Initially, when we were pushing up to 500 players, that was putting a lot of burden on a number of systems. It's one of the reasons why we needed to replace our message queue.
Where now we needed more parallelism into how we shuffled messages across the hybrid, because the amount of data that it has to shuffle is a lot higher than we expected.
From what I understand, same mesh, so 250, 4 servers. Right now we're at 231 players. Making our jump to Pyro system.
So we decided to take a couple of months out and completely rewrite it. We came back then with what you've heard us referring to as the replication message queue, or RMQ. So RMQ is a product of the UK networking team, so that's Clive Johnson, Dave Kaplan, Jordan Wood, Nathan Matthias, Santi Ortiz. Those guys, I mean, they really put their heads down, and I think they really delivered on something that is going to scale to the future.
The intention of RMQ was to provide us with a more stable foundation. And going into the first test, because it being new code and it being written like specially for large volumes of messages, we expected it to perform better than NMQ. It didn't.
RMQ is performing actually pretty good. The actual element that we identified back at the beginning of the year when we did our first server meshing test were actually solved, and we're now running at very fast speeds. But it revealed another layer of the onion.
A lot of ships over here, so yeah, probably not working, which is too bad. And I have no idea what's going on. Oh, the FPS. Come on, come back to me. Load, load.
We were disappointed that we were still seeing interaction delay. We were still seeing high latency. On the back end, we were seeing high levels of packet loss.
You are clear to launch.
Oh no, it's gonna lock me in.
This feels familiar, you know? This definitely does feel familiar. Okay, so this feels you know, familiar. This is actually pretty impressive. This feels pretty impressive what they're talking about. Like in 2 months being able to rewrite something like that, and you know, everything they're saying makes a ton of sense, and it's all the stuff you want to hear, like having a good base, a good foundation, something to build off of. Thank you again, Zombie. Like all that stuff is super important, and I can only imagine it's, you know, incredibly important given the fact that all this stuff has to, you know, work and get bigger and bigger to potentially have, you know, 2,000 players, 3,000 players. And so everything they're saying so far sounds great. And I'm just hoping we don't get the caveat at the end of this video of like, oh, but by the way, 2 more years. No, please. All right, let's keep going.
Might have to grab a smaller ship or something. Why am I locked in here? So this hangar might be busted. I just saw somebody else take off, so not all hangars are busted. That's not good.
Interaction delay is caused by messages taking a long time to go through the hybrid. So when you press F to open a door or exit a ship, a message is sent from your client to the hybrid, then processes the message, and then sends it to a game server and back to your client. So this loop, when it's too slow and takes time, will manifest itself as interaction delay. Now what causes interaction delay from the hybrid's perspective is when we basically have a traffic jam on one thread. So the application is using multiple CPUs, but at some point in our code, the way we're processing it, we will be all jammed on one. That will create a traffic jam, which will cause the messages to take a long time to do that loop, and that immediately creates interaction delay.
When analyzing issues with interaction delay, we saw that everything that was going wrong was kind of focused in on where all of the code that runs NMQ was. So when we went to try and optimize that, we discovered that we're kind of in this dead end. We can't really figure out how to, with the structure of NMQ, improve it. So with RMQ, we kind of addressed those problems kind of at their root and really thought about how we can not end up in this dead end again.
That is the jump point. So we are going to, oh, well, that is not the jump point. That is where we're going. Within that amazing visual, there is a delightful jump point for us to go through, hopefully. I'm not entirely sure if it's working. I know people were telling me, because it's in Evocati, which is a very early build of 4.0, sometimes it's not working, but we'll find out together.
What we expected from that is that we would be able to achieve a much higher throughput, which it does. It can achieve that. But by optimizing that, we see what was behind NMQ that was also causing issues, that wasn't getting the opportunity to really like stretch its legs to the point where it was able to become an issue.
NMQ was at a dead end, right? There wasn't so much we could do there, just to the nature of how that had been written. The game we were building at the time when that was written, radically different.
It couldn't grow, it couldn't evolve.
Exactly. It was limited in its nature.
Our game is massively complicated. We produce so much data from everything, not just players, NPCs, from ships, from doors, from to elevators to just everything kind of going on that the NMQ at least, and then the RMQ's just like no.
So RMQ's focus was, yes, to immediately try and solve some of the issues we had seen, but also to provide us some room to grow. And right away, we noticed a distinct lack of parallelization when we update dirty messages.
So a dirty variable is a piece of information or a variable attached to an object that hasn't been communicated to all other members of the mesh.
The sync dirty stuff is just absolutely, it's taking up most of the frame. So where we were originally seeing, let's say like we have this amount of space, right? We were seeing like NMQ take up this much, and then like the rest of the network update taking this much. But now we're seeing sync dirty take this much, and the rest of the network updates take this much, and then RMQ just this tiny little sliver now. So we've addressed RMQ, but oh wow, that underneath all of this, there was this other problem that never really got the chance to generate that load.
Oh, it's just closed. Huh. Oh no. Okay, lining up. Oh my god. Entry requirements met. Oh my word, this is happening. Tuning complete.
This is cool.
Oh, the music is actually giving me shivers down my spine.
I'm actually really looking forward to doing a jump.
So we fixed this by parallelizing the work or optimizing the work that's happening in that thread so that it goes faster. And so there's multiple approaches to this, but the number one thing that we've been doing in the first series of tests have really been optimizing and parallelizing the work for synchronizing dirty variables.
Parallelizing this allows us to add more lanes. It's just like going from a single lane road onto a highway. We can just handle much more at the same time.
So the server needs to send out any change that happens to the game, you move, you shoot, and send it to every other client that can also see that entity. What happens is that then needs to go through every single client and go, oh, can you see this, can you see this, can you see this, can you see this? And then synchronize dirty state. That then is what produces the message that updates you. What's a really, really easy optimization to make there, especially at higher player counts, is we can just go, oh, every single client we can do at the same time. They're not modifying any data, they're just reading it, because that's what sending it out is. You're just reading the data. And reading the data means just reading the data, not modifying it, means that we can run all of that information at the same time. So with not too much work, we can get a really, really big optimization.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Opening jump point. Guys, what the heck, man? This is next level. Entering jump tunnel.
After that first wave of parallelization, we've seen some immediate benefits.
It's feeling really good. Server's feeling good. Knock on wood, no server errors so far, no crashes, stuff like that. So I appreciate that greatly.
We started to see reductions in those key metrics for interaction delay and game responsiveness and packet loss.
That was quite a dramatic exit, I have to say. I got very lucky I didn't just get slammed into one of these asteroids.
Can you hear me? Jump if you can hear me. I'll jump again if you can hear me. Oh, nice, you can hear me, let's go.
Things were showing signs of improvement.
It's funny and how telling it is when you're like super excited that somebody can actually hear you or like see what you're doing. But this is all super cool, and yeah, I mean, I can't wait for us to get our hands on Pyro, and from what I'm hearing, it's going to be sooner than later. What's up, Ron? And yeah, that'll be definitely something that I'm really looking forward to spending my holidays, if I get any, playing in Pyro with meshing and hopefully enjoying that. Obviously, it's going to be probably kind of rough when it comes out, but that's to be expected.
So you'll see that we pushed the player count up again. This was our first test going past 1,000 players. And pretty rapidly we ran into the next bottleneck, which was the binds. And a bind, in very simple terms, is effectively the connection between your client and your view of the game world to the server's view of the game world. So if I see a coffee cup on the table in front of me, it's because my client, running on my computer, has bound over the network to the server's view and knowledge of the existence of that entity.
All right, so here we go with more FPS drops. Huzzah. It's primarily the medical area. It's terrible. Ooh, what is this? Open. Ooh, fuses. Down with your colony.
In our game, we have a lot of entities. Last time I checked, Stanton was at well over 1 million in an average kind of game session, and numbers just get bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Ivan said there were a million entities. That's like starter numbers, right?
So, so that was just with Stanton. So Stanton, initially when we seed Stanton, so seeding is like just us putting all the initial state there. That is about 720,000 entities.
I am at area 18. So now we're gonna have another experience. Oh my god.
AI definitely feels a lot more variety. That's good. Looking good. Relax, pal. Just walk right through me. Jeez.
After a little bit of soak time, so say a week, we see that very, very quickly grow to around 3 million entities per shard. So yeah, things grow pretty quickly, and like from there, we see things kind of continue to grow. This is kind of why we need like this big focus on like cleaning up entities and stuff like that. It doesn't just help the game; it also helps the network with the replication and the interaction delay.
So in order to optimize the binds, what we need to do is properly assess what part of a big bind can be done in parallel with another so that they don't interact with each other. That allows us to go wide, use more lanes to go faster.
The motorway is completely clear. We just can't get the things up the on-ramp fast enough. So what we're trying to do is basically add more on-ramps. So with binds, what that means is we might have the same number of entities that we need to actually get that you want to see updated. But what we can try and do is try and do that faster. So with parallelization, with some clever optimizations, among other things, hopefully. Progress is looking positive. So we've been working on a lot of the more like tedious little details, which has been like kind of like figuring out how we get information into our message queue in the most optimal way possible. But that's also setting us up for being able to then be very clever about how we parallelize the binds.
There we go. I just click on the left click on the mouse, so I open the tunnel. Here we go. Here we go. We are opening it. All right. Entering jump tunnel. Here we go. So smooth. So smooth. So smooth. Okay.
I am really excited to see this progress further.
That I feel like so many of us are just gonna sit there going back and forth between jump points, geeking out, and like, look, this is so cool. Okay, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but don't judge me. It's fine.
Already the jump gates feel really smooth and reliable to make use of. This is going to make a very exciting addition to the game when it comes to live, and opens up so many possibilities for the future. Everyone at CIG is doing an incredible job of bringing this to reality. Amazing work all round.
All right, so now that I kind of let the FPS kind of catch up with me here, and I'm kind of trying to let all the shaders load, so that's hopefully a lot of what you're seeing is lag, and it's not just optimization issues, but it's starting to feel better now that I'm kind of just standing here for a moment.
We really think that unlocking that will allow us to go to at least 10x performance on the versus the current game experience on live, which is at 100 players. But this will also allow us to uncover more layers of the onion that we can optimize to go at even higher numbers on one single hybrid, which will allow us to go bigger, just like we did with RMQ from NMQ, just like we did with the 30 variables optimizations. Binds will allow us to go further, but it's not the end of the tunnel. We still have more work to do to get even more player counts on one hybrid.
All right, we're gonna see what's inside here. Oh my god, this is so crazy. Oh, too much light.
Un joueur incroyable. Bonjour, monsieur.
The visuals are crazy.
We want to push further, and the message from Chris is go as big as we can, as quickly as we can. We want to do that in a way that delivers a better feeling, more responsive game. We're not just going to jump to big numbers just because we can. There's nothing stopping us going and putting a couple more zeros at the end of the player cap, but that's not going to lead to a good experience until we continue to address the bottlenecks that we know we have, and more that we'll discover as we go forward.
We have a lot that we can improve on, and a lot of that looks very, very intimidating. But I'm excited would probably be the emotion to kind of use for it, because we spent so long trying to figure out how we can do server meshing that we've not really had a chance to like kind of slow down and look. And now we're kind of in that phase where we can kind of look at where like things that have existed for the past 10 years can be improved. And being able to...
I really hope that he said what he just said. It gets taken to heart, that they can improve. And what's up, Fatal Tater? How's it going? Thank you so much for the follow. And by the way, everyone, Fatal Tater is a fellow streamer. So make sure to go check them out. Hold up. There we go. There we go. Shout out to Fatal Tater. Fantastic name. Great streamer. Fellow Star Citizen streamer. Make sure to go check him out. What was I saying? Blip, let's be honest. The contract will have failed the second you jump through the gate. Okay, let's just be honest. It's not sticking around. I mean, let's be honest. We're all gonna force science try crashing into the side of the the jump gates, jump holes, whatever they call them. Sorry. Starchy in science. I mean, for science, right? You have to, just to see what happens. So you're gonna have to, you have to get through that phase, and then, I mean, let's be honest, like, definitely gonna go back and forth through that a few times, just to be like, oh, I forgot something. Let me go back. Well, hey, we'll have to see, because then there's supposed to be like it branches off, and you can find other exits. So like, I'm going to push the org to specialize in like knowing the path through, kind of thing, because we are smugglers after all. We must know the routes. Try harder and with smaller ships that turn better. Yes, I will try many stupid things all at once if I can, but we'll do our best. All right, with that, we're almost at the end of this, so let's get through the last bit of it. It has actually been very interesting to see and hear what they have to say. I have a lot of respect for the devs on this game, because what they're trying to do is incredibly difficult, so hats off to them for actually getting it to a point where we've been able to test it. It's been in active testing. It's, kind of gone back and forth, and hearing the honesty about like, we did this and then this fucked up, so we got to fix this, and then we got that fixed, and then this screwed up, and so we had to fix that, and then we got through that, and that's just the reality of building anything. So it's actually very cool. It's nice to hear. It'd be nice to, have some of this communication a bit earlier on, instead of like the ISC, because it's going to come out in a couple weeks or whatever. So, but let's finish this off. This has been cool.
Then like tear out huge systems and replace them like with NMQ and RMQ, and like really try and like make the best thing that we possibly can is really exciting.
So what did we learn this week? That the progress of moving server meshing forward is only made possible with the help of testers like you. That each new win like RMQ peels back another layer of the performance onion to be addressed next, like binds, which since the time these interviews were recorded have made tremendous progress and are already revealing the next layers underneath. And that this work doesn't stop with the upcoming Alpha 4.0, because as the game grows to the sights set in Star Citizen 1.0 and beyond, so too must the efforts to continuously optimize. And I want to give a special thanks to Star Citizens Adder Moth, Citizen Kate, and Will, Dominguez, Even Lease, Hybrid V, Letiredd, tried, Morphologist,
Irrégulier,
23, Speedfragger, and Torada, as well as everyone else who's been documenting this process from the other side of the table. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you. And as next week is IAE, instead of ISC, there's going to be something a little bit different coming your way next Friday. We'll see you there.
Is that... What's that for? Wait, hold up. I gotta see. Are there funnies? There's no funnies. Damn it. Bring back the funnies, Jared. I want my funnies. This is unacceptable. Okay, so meshing. I give it 2 thumbs up. I like this one. It was very technical. It was very specific, and I am not savvy enough on all this tech to really have any more insight other than I think it's awesome. I can't wait to test it. We already have tested it. I can appreciate the amount of work and dedication they've had to put in to, you know, get something that works. And I really appreciate the going back and saying, the thinking, how do we make sure this is a platform we can build off of so that we don't get to a situation in a year, 2 years where they're like, so we have to redesign everything again. And you're just like, fuck. So that's a good thing. So hopefully more of this. That's very encouraging. Thanks everybody for joining me for my react. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're still here and you did enjoy it, consider leaving a like and maybe even a subscribe. It really does help out the channel and helps us grow. So with that, thanks everybody. I will see you again next week for another ISC. And there you go.